Gengar gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we are going to do a little bit of talking specifically about opportunity cost. Now, today's video is a interesting one for a variety of reasons, but the primary reason that it's interesting is because we're going to be talking about opportunity cost, which admittedly is a finance term. So in no uncertain terms, it is a concept that exists in accounting. And basically, it's one of many different measures of how people think about and look about understanding a variety of different opportunities that might exist and which ones may be the most cost beneficial. Now, I do want to thank Josh Hernandez, who left the following comment on the channel. Josh, if you're watching, thanks again for leaving a comment and engaging down below. I do appreciate it. And more importantly, hopefully this video can help you get a better understanding of some of the concepts that might be driving why people don't want to pick up common day or current day product right now. So the question that was asked was basically like, hey, Vivid Voltage is still new, but you know, things like Cosmic, Unified Minds, Unbroken Bonds are all selling for $200+, right? All of these sets came out less than 200 years ago, so why not just buy the box now instead of you know, waiting around for some time and then the prices might spike? Well, there's a couple factors to that, right? The first thing is in those types of conversations, there's usually a lot of argumentation about, hey, what is or what isn't going to be a good investment opportunity. And I think investing is one of the main and key critical components to understand here. If you're a casual buyer or seller and you run into something on a store shelf, pick it up. Just don't worry about it. Like, you can buy the stuff and it doesn't have to always be a investment strategy. And oftentimes I think a lot of us do get kind of caught up in that. We think everything is an investment and need some sort of mathematical reasoning behind it. But honestly, if you see a Vivid Voltage ETB for 40 bucks at Target, A, you should thank your lucky stars, because I really don't think you can really find those anymore. And then, you know, assuming you want it and you can afford it, yeah, pick it up. Why not, right? So that's the first thing to understand. The next thing is this idea of opportunity cost. So when you're looking at your finances from the perspective of what is going to be the most productive thing for me to invest in, you have to think about opportunity cost, which is officially defined, at least according to Google, as an economic term that deals with the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. So the idea here would be that you can pick from a variety of things. However, theoretically, you should be picking the most profitable endeavor. So you should be identifying the set that is going to make you the most money, buy a whole bunch of those, and then sell them when the price is the highest. However, if you made the mistake of picking one of the lesser profitable sets, in theory, you have lost, and that is your opportunity cost. The difference between what you sold the less profitable set for and the most profitable set for had you bought it would be the cost that you've taken through that opportunity. You chose the less profitable alternative. Now, let's take a look at a real life example and let's kind of see how things play out over a period of time. Now, in order to do that, I quite literally picked the most random thing I could, and that is the top half of the Rayquaza and Deoxys Legends card. So here is that card on screen for you right now. The reason I picked it is quite literally because I just kind of, you know, grabbed it and said like, hey, I think this is going to be a good opportunity to kind of explore something, right? So here's the card. As you can see, it's one of the cards from the Heart Gold and Soul Silver era. It sold for a whopping $1,525 as a PSA 10, and that was at PWCC auctions. I further went ahead and looked this up on eBay, made sure that it was paid, and so we can rely that this is the price of that card as it exists relatively in the past, right? It's been about 4-ish months, but it's the most recent sale and what we have to go off of. Now, the previous high and the previous sale price for that card was on 5/6, so May 6th of 2019, and that was another auction, this time by Card Rush Inc., for a card, literally the exact same card with a different cert number. So a gem mint top half of the card, right? Again, looked it up on eBay, verified that it was real, legit, blah, blah, blah. So when we take a look at the basics of the math behind that, right? And again, keeping things to kind of whole numbers. The first one sold for $415 back in 2019. In 2020, one sold for $1,525, and that means that we saw a percentage increase of 267.47%. Another way of saying this is that less your basis, you saw a total increase of about 2.67 times the money you had invested. So you put in $415, you got back about 2.6 times that amount, and then you'd have to deduct your basis to calculate any kind of gain, right? So all things considered, not bad, nearly 3 times the money, right? So that's the first thing to understand when we go about seeing one alternative, right? In the past, on May 6th, 2019, this was one of the alternatives that you could choose from in terms of an investment. And as you can see, had you chosen this one, you would have made the money that the math kind of goes. Just in case anyone's curious, the dollar value on the profit of this is $1,110. So you would have made about $1,100 plus some change had you invested in this. Now, around that time, mind you, May 6th, 2019 is our, total time period. If we look at the different sets that were coming out at the time, ironically, one of the sets that was mentioned in the original question is actually released right around that time. So on May 3rd of 2019, you could have bought anything from Unbroken Bonds, right? So here's the thing. Unbroken Bonds came out right around this time. MSRP for a booster box on eBay is usually $100. For the sake of this conversation, we're going to ignore a few things. One, we can't look at scalper prices because scalper prices just aren't fair to compare against. The truth of the matter is, had COVID not happened, had mass printing supply been shorted, we wouldn't have been in a situation where scalpers are kind of ruling the market by doubling and tripling charging prices. More importantly, if you find a regular retail store that sells booster boxes, they will still sell at MSRP. Scalpers only exist on eBay and on the internet, but in stores, you can still buy a booster box for MSRP. You can still buy a check lane blister or a Champions Path ETB for the price that the manufacturer recommends. So we do have to look at retail price, not what you might be seeing on eBay or a different site. So it seems like our original investment for the Rayquaza Deoxys card was $415. So let's say that we bought 4 booster boxes at $100 each. That means we spent $400, right? So this is another one of the alternatives that we could have chosen from back in early May of 2019. Now, if we go ahead and see what the prices of those cards are right now, as you can see, my Google results are coming back with approximately a $300 booster box. Now, mind you, this one on eBay is selling for $279, but we're going to choose the most expensive of those. So I guess $300.02. And we're going to go ahead and say, oops, nope, that says Lost Under. This is the one. So Dave and Adam's Card World is selling it for $299.95. So again, approximately $300. Now, let's go ahead and pretend that we could sell our booster boxes for that price today. Okay? Now, as was stated, you bought each booster box at $100, you're selling each booster box at $300, and when you calculate that, you get a 200% increase, meaning you went from $100 to $300, less your basis, you've gone up 200%. Now, if you're looking at it purely from a mathematical standpoint, again, you bought 4 booster boxes, so you need to take this 300, multiply it by 4, which is going to give you $1,200. Again, in a dollar value format, we're talking about $800 of profit. You spent $400, you made $1,200, the difference is $800. Now, in case anybody's curious, For investment opportunity number 1, we made $1,525. In investment opportunity number 2, we made $1,200. The difference between the two opportunities was $325 in favor of the Rayquaza and Deoxys card. This is the opportunity cost associated with investing in Unbroken Bonds booster boxes, because as you can see, there were more profitable options out there for us. So when folks continue to ask the question of, hey, it's modern day product, why shouldn't I invest in it? You have to really think about it. Not every single individual has an unlimited pocket. Whether it be $5, $50, $500, or $5,000, we all have a maximum to how much we can invest. And in theory, we should be picking investments that are the most productive and the most valuable to our overall market portfolio. Again, when you're thinking about it from the perspective of being a casual collector or even an avid hobbyist, it's totally fine to go ahead and buy something when you see it, right? So when you're just at Target, spending $40 on an ETB is really not that big a deal. But from an investment perspective, you might only have $500 and you might have other goals in life that you're seeking to achieve. And so when you think about it specifically from that perspective, you then also have to give thought and credence to the idea that your $500 needs to be the most productive it can over the next, your investment life cycle. So let's say you had a year to invest, you want to make sure that your $500 is going to maximize the amount of money you can get. So this is where the idea of, oh, hey, don't invest in modern day product comes from, because people realize that that stuff is likely going to be around for quite a bit longer and you'll still be able to pick it up. Honestly, with the way scalper prices are working right now, it's actually going to probably decline in value. And this is a prediction that you guys can call me on later, in like a year if things don't return to normal. But it is my opinion that, if a Vivid Voltage booster box is selling for $185 online right now, you can probably hold off and just go ahead and buy it in like a year or two. I promise you they should still be around. They won't be short printing the sets because it's at the very beginning of its product life cycle, and in theory that gives you more time to find you another example like this one, a PSA card from a vintage set that you can invest nearly the same amount of money and you can do so much better in the long run. And then again, the additional profit that you made, ironically, the $325, will probably be able to buy you half a case of Vivid Voltage in the future. So with that said, friends, that is opportunity cost. Again, thinking about it as a hobbyist, it's really not something we should even factor in, but thinking about it as if Pokemon cards are a legitimate investment and we are using them to achieve certain financial goals, opportunity cost is a very real and identifiable phenomena in the Pokemon hobby. And although many people aren't speaking about it using the financial term, it is opportunity cost. People will advise you not to invest in modern stuff because they realize it's probably not going to be as productive in a given period of time than vintage will. Vintage will continue to go up at a very high increasing rate versus modern, which will take quite a while before it starts appreciating in value and even starts matching that rate of growth year over year that the vintage market is currently seeing. So with all that said, friends, I hope today's video helps people to think a little differently about the way that they're looking at the good old-fashioned argument about what is or what isn't an investable product. Again, there's always the argument to make that, hey, I'm just a hobbyist, in which case do it. Like, I do it all the time. I go to Target, I just buy stuff. I try not to think about it too much because at the end of the day, I do actually want to enjoy the hobby as well and not do this type of math for every single thing that I spend money on, because honestly, it just gets tiring after a while. I hope you all are having a great Saturday. This week, no PSA graded returns, but probably next week. Other than that, I hope everyone is having a great day. Hey, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Great time to do so. We are probably nearing 700 subs at this point, so fingers crossed we cross that threshold. Thanks so much for all the growth. Thanks so much for all the support. Again, thank you all for leaving engaging comments down below. It's definitely helped me to think of new topics that we can possibly cover here on the channel, so it's all really awesome and I do really appreciate it. Other than that, hope you guys are having an amazing day. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and we'll talk soon. Peace.